Hey everyone, Andy Raffel from eTeknix.com, and do you ever wonder if it's actually cheaper to just buy a computer than building one yourselves? Today, we're going to have an answer for you because we have this. A system from Novatech. Let's do this. So we got sent this system from Novatech. It's called the Rain, I want to say Paladin or Paladin. Paladin sounds better. Mark II. So we're gonna kind of, I guess firstly, get it out of this. So the Paladin or Rain Paladin Mark II. Firstly, obviously the system is gonna be inside this box here, but you do get another little box along with it. Now I'm gonna warn you, this was extremely heavy. You know, I'm not saying I'm the strongest guy in the world, but as you saw from the beginning, pretty much, yeah. So, what we got to start with, obviously inside the box we do get extra power supply cables. So if you ever do want to sort of upgrade your system, you can do so. We have SATA cables in here, cable ties, we've got our Wi-Fi antenna, what looks like probes. Is that a probe? I think it's a probe. Looks like a probe. It's a probe. So yeah, we get all that kind of good stuff. We also get, obviously Wi-Fi antenna brackets, feet, basically all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. So all the accessories that you need. You obviously get your kettle lead for, you know, powering up the system. And then inside we get this nice little kind of Novatech branded box. And inside there, kind of intrigued as to actually what's in there now. That was tight. So inside there we get a few other little extras. So we've got our SLI bridge and basically all of our instruction manuals, because there is a lot to this. As you can see, it is the NZXT H700. So we get all the stuff for obviously the NZXT based stuff. So we've got the Kraken, we've got the manual for the actual chassis itself. We've got our motherboard driver CD and so forth. There's literally every driver and every kind of manual for every part of this system, because I mean, you're not actually going to get the box of it. If you were building it yourself, then you're going to have your motherboard box, you're going to have your graphics card box. But when you buy a pre-built like this, you don't need all that stuff. But that's not to say that you're not going to need the manual at a later date. So obviously you get the system itself. So straight away we can see from the box it is the NZXT H700 mid-tower. Now I want to go through sort of pricing and some of the specs and everything on this system while I'm unboxing it. So you are going to be looking at, and I'm going to warn you now, it's not cheap, and it's bloody heavy as well. You're looking at £3,199, so £3,199, call it £3,200, delivered to your door. Now, we've actually done kind of the, I guess, the pricing and looked at how much this would actually cost if we were to kind of build it ourselves. And it actually came out, I think it was like £217 cheaper. So you got to sort of think, okay, £217, what am I actually going to be getting from Novatech for the extra money? So the main things that you're going to be getting is the fact that you haven't got to build the system. So obviously, if you were buying this yourself in all parts and everything, you've got to think, how long is it going to take you to sort of build? I guess for someone like me who kind of does this day in, day out, you're probably looking at, to make everything good in terms of cable management, I don't know, an hour, maybe 2 hours to get it, you know, perfect. I'm hoping what's going to be the same quality as what Novatech have done. If you are, I don't know, say a novice user, then maybe it's going to take you a few hours more. So you got to think, how much is your time actually worth? So for some people, you know, if it's going to take 4 hours to build, you could, for instance, go to work and actually make money in that time. And I don't know, if you've got a well-paid job, which I'm guessing you would have if you're going to be spending that sort of money on a system, then you're probably going to be able to make that £200 back pretty damn quick, and then in theory, you know, someone else could just build it for you, like Novatech. So that's kind of my whole reasoning behind it. And also, when you are going to buy parts like a motherboard, you are going to buy parts like a graphics card, processor, and everything else, the chassis and everything else. I thought that was falling off then. You are going to be looking at, I don't know, a 1 year warranty on most of the parts. Some of them are going to obviously come with a little bit sort of more. So there is a transport packaging inside, yeah, the normal sort of stuff to show that they have actually put some stuff inside as well. So what you're actually going to be looking at is obviously maybe a 2 year warranty on some of the parts. You actually get a 3 year warranty on this whole system. So again, for that extra money, that's kind of what you're getting. So straight away, I'm going to say it's kind of worth it. Now, I'm actually looking at this system, I guess first glance with you guys, and straight away, the first thing I can see is this kind of etching actually on there. Yes, it has got a little bit of stuff on there where that sticky tape was on, which I'm not overly keen on, but you know, that can be cleaned off. Other than that, the system looks like it's arrived in pretty decent shape. So you can see that there is extra packaging material on the inside. So if we end up opening this up, which is just 4 thumb screws, it is a H700 chassis. I am, I guess, a little bit disappointed that it's not the H700i. I would have personally preferred to have seen that. But yeah, H700 is still pretty much one of the best selling chassis over the last sort of year. And we can see inside, once we take this off, tempered glass. So we keep that nice and sort of, yeah, there. They have decided to go with bubble wrap, but they have kind of looped it up and they've put it over the parts that I guess, you know, matter, which is mainly the GPU. That's one of the main things that kind of gets destroyed, especially with shipping. Now, when this was actually shipped, it was delivered by Salvatore, which is kind of a specialist brand of courier that uses kind of pallet-based systems and things like that. So I'm guessing that's how the consumer's going to get it as well. It is going to be with kind of a, I guess, a premium courier, as opposed to just, you know, your DHL, your Yodel, FedEx, UPS, all the ones who generally drop stuff. So as you can see, everything has arrived in pretty good style. So let's go over the full specs of the system. So processor wise, we're looking at a 9th generation Core i9-9900K, 3.6 GHz, 8-core processor. In terms of the memory, we're looking at 32 GB across two 16 gig modules of Corsair Vengeance LPX Black, 3200 MHz, and it operates in dual channel. In terms of the motherboard, this is of course the Gigabyte Z390 Aorus Master, one of my favourite Z390 based boards. Sticking with Gigabyte, we have got the Aorus RTX 2080 Ti Extreme 11G graphics card, which is probably one of the beefiest, most beastly 2080 Ti's on the market. Hard drive wise, we've actually got a selection of 3 different drives. So we have a Samsung 970 EVO Plus 500 gig SSD, NVMe of course, a Seagate Barracuda 4TB desktop hard drive, and also a Samsung 860 QVO 2TB SATA based SSD as well. So plenty of space for all of your games. In terms of the cooling, sticking with NZXT, we've got the NZXT Kraken X72, which is a 360mm AIO. Power supply wise, they've gone with the Corsair RMX series, RM850X 2018 edition, 80 plus gold, full modular PSU. And all of this is of course, as I mentioned, inside the NZXT H700 mid-tower chassis. So obviously with the H700, you do get quite a lot for your money in terms of just the chassis alone. Basically when it comes to like cooling. So you can see that we have got a lot of fans in here, front and back. Obviously where we have got the X72 360mm AIO, we have got that situated up top. So again, another 3 fans. So in total, there's actually 7 fans in this whole system. Cable management wise, from this side at least, it does look very, very good. I know with AIOs like this, where it does have quite a few cables coming out of it, it is kind of extremely hard to kind of route stuff around. Memory's all in the right ports, GPU in the top sort of slot, nothing really out of the ordinary. The only thing that I maybe would have liked to have seen in here is some custom cables, whether they be extensions or kind of, you know, your full cables, because yes, these do look quite nice with the sort of black braiding, but then you get this rubber bit and you have to put kind of a cable tie around there. It could look a lot better if you were using something that was maybe a little bit more custom. Yes, it's going to add to the cost, but I'm sure, you know, that ability is there. So let's take a look at the other side of the actual case to sort of talk about cable management and see if they've actually bothered to do anything there. So we've had a lot of systems over the years, and generally it's been a bit hit or miss when it comes to this side, because some think, well, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So let's see what Novatech have done. So looking at it, they've actually done a pretty decent job. I mean, the H700 is probably one of the best chassis when it comes to cable management, because you do have all of these various raceways for kind of your thicker, larger 24-pin cables, all the kind of front panel cables, but they have sort of, yeah, cable tied stuff up down here. It's looking pretty damn decent, really. You can see that we've got the SSD over here, the 2TB SSD. We've got the 4TB hard drive situated down here, and then obviously the NVMe drive is slotted straight into the motherboard. So they have actually made use of all of kind of the raceways, all of the various cable ties that come with it. And I'm actually pretty pleased with what Novatech have done here. So if you are looking at buying this system, this is pretty much what you're going to get. And this is going to aid in things like cooling and things like that. So yeah, good job on that front. And obviously if you do want to kind of, upgrade things at a later date, then you still have kind of, the maneuverability and the flexibility in the room to add in extra power supply cables if you need it. Maybe you want to put in a second GPU. Not sure why you'd want to. It has a 2080 Ti Extreme in there, but things are looking pretty decent overall. So turning it back around, turning it on and sort of having a look at, I guess, what's been done color-wise. I'll be honest, I was expecting maybe a little bit more. Obviously with the motherboard, it's just kind of cycling through the various kind of patterns that's within the kind of Aura software. The GPU is just currently sitting on blue, and then the Kraken X72 is just going round and round. Obviously none of the fans are RGB. Maybe they've gone for kind of more of a professional look, I guess, as opposed to sort of a garish gamer look. Some people are, going to like this, some people aren't. So, but the beauty is you can always go onto Novatech's website and you can kind of, customize things and make things personal to kind of what you want to do. If you went with, say, the H700i, then yeah, you're going to get things like LED strips and you're going to get all that connectivity option that's going to allow you to kind of, make it a little bit more personal and, I don't know, pop just that little bit more. But I guess really it comes down to, like I say, maybe they're aiming at kind of the professional market and, not really trying to go with the whole frills here, frills there kind of option, and just focusing mainly on pure, unadulterated performance, especially with an i9-9900K and that RTX 2080 Ti. So I guess really, we need to look at the performance and see exactly how it performed in our benchmarks. Roll those glorious benchmarks. you have it. There's those glorious benchmarks showing you exactly how it performed. And to be honest, nothing really performed out of the ordinary. You got to remember this has got 32 gig of 3200 megahertz memory, an i9-9900K, and an RTX 2080 Ti Extreme, and an abundance of storage options through the NVMe drive, the SSD, and the hard drive. Now, the thing that I actually like that Novatech do, and this is kind of the, I guess, the proper way of doing it, because you're not going to be kind of, over-promised and under-delivered. So what they actually do, if you go onto the Novatech website, like the one for this particular product, the Rain PALADIN MKII, PALADIN, however you want to sort of call it, this system here, what it actually gives you sort of the specifications, it gives you a little bit of a gallery, but it also shows you various different games and various benchmarks. So in the benchmark section, it will show you kind of what scores you're expected to get in Cinebench, what scores you're expected to get in this score, or that score, or this application, that application. So you know straight away, if you're aiming for a system that you want to be kind of, great performance-wise on, gaming or sort of, productivity, you can see straight away before you've even bought it how it should be performing. And then when it does come to gaming, they do have various kind of videos that are on YouTube as well. Maybe we'll link over to them as well just to sort of show them some love. But it will actually sort of give you 1440p and 4K gaming on this system, and it will show you what kind of settings they've used and what kind of frame rate you're actually meant to be getting. So again, if you're sitting there going, you know what, I really, really want to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I want to make sure this system can run it at X frames per second. Well, go onto the product page, you can see that for yourself, and you can see it got X amount of frames in that particular game at that particular resolution with those particular settings. So you can go, you know what? That's exactly what I want, so yes, this system is for me. And I really like the fact that Novatech are doing that. I know there's a couple of brands who do that in the US, but I think in the UK, Novatech are the first ones to really sort of, be that transparent with things, and I can really get behind that. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that this system is about £200 odd more expensive than building it yourself. But I can see that kind of a lot of love has actually gone into this in terms of the cable management. The choices they've gone with are pretty much the best you can get out there on the market without going sort of, multi-GPU or going HEDT on the CPU and motherboard, which will drive the cost up even more. But there's plenty of storage options for you. There's room for upgradability. I personally just would have liked to have maybe a little bit more bling in terms of the RGB, but that is just a personal choice of mine. Let me know in the comment section below, kind of, do you prefer something like this? Or do you prefer something that maybe does have that little bit extra sort of flair to it? Really interested to know. Overall though, I can honestly say I'd recommend getting this system, and if maybe it's out of your budget, pop over to the Novatech website and check out sort of maybe what else they've got. Maybe you'd be surprised as to what kind of frame rates you can get on various other systems at various price points. And remember, we have got a full written review of this if you want something maybe a little bit easier to digest. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know exactly what to do, and I will see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye-bye. Everything nearly fucking fell off the desk then. So on top of that, obviously you get the system itself. Now, this is it's already open. So processor-wise, we're looking at the i9-9900K, the latest and greatest from Intel. Clocking in at 3.6, either cable mod or one of kind of, the, I guess more bleh,